Hi lovelies, you're welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome back and I appreciate. So with today I'll be drafting a swimsuit, and these are the measurement needed and also the equipment needed to draft this particular pattern. So right now I'm going to mark a point here. I will take this as my starting point, also as my shoulder point. So from that my shoulder point, I'm going to be coming down by 11 inches from my bust point. Still from my shoulder point, I'm going to be coming down by 18 inches, and this will be for my waist point. Now I will go ahead and rule a straight line on those points I have on my pattern paper. So now after I'm done ruling line on those points I marked out, what I'm going to be doing next is to label them. My shoulder line, the first line, the second line, my bust line, the third line, my waist line. So now from my waistline here, I'm going to be coming down by 5 inches to get where I'm going to be taking my hip circumference from. That is my hip roundness from. So I'm going to go down by 5 inches now, and then I'll rule a straight line on that point I marked out. Now after doing that, still from I'm going to be labeling this my hip line. This is not actually my real hip line, my real hip point, but because of how swimsuit is, this is the reason why from the waistline I have to go down by 5 inches, and I'm going to be taking my hip measurement on that line I came down by, which is 5 inches. So now from my waistline, I'm going to measure my crouch line, which is 12 inches, as I just did here. So now how to measure your crouch line, you know how to do it already. So now from that line now that I measure from, I'm going to label is my crouch line. Now below that my crouch line, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch. So the 1 inch is to give it balance at that down part, so it won't be too tight when you button it at the down part. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my shoulder measurement. So my shoulder measurement is 16 inches. So that 16 inches, I'm going to be dividing it by 2. Now after dividing it by 2, what I have is 8 inches. So now I'm going to be marking out that 8 inches on my shoulder line this way. Now I'll mark this 8 inches there, and then I'm going to be making use of 3 inches for the wideness of the neck, and then I will make use of 4 inches for the depth of the neck, and then go ahead to connect both points together for the neck part. After doing that, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch from the shoulder measurement, and this will be for my shoulder slope. I came down by 1 inch. Now I'm going to connect it this way, meeting my neck wideness point. Now I'm going to divide my armhole measurement by 2, which is 17 inches divided by 2 will give me 8.5 inches. So now from that my shoulder slope point, I'm going to place my tape this way and mark out the 8.5 inches, and then I'm going to be connecting both points together. So when connecting both points together, make sure your ruler is in a straight method or in a straight form, and then connect it this way. So now this will be serving as my chest line. Now I'm going to go ahead and divide whatever I have there with the 8.5 inches I have on my armhole by 2 to get the midpoint, and then from that midpoint I'm going to be coming in by 0.5 inches. Now I'm going to take my bust measurement, which I divided by 4. So now I'm going to place it there, and then I will connect it this way. And this is all for the front armhole. Now I'll go ahead and take my bust measurement on my bust line also. And then now I'll be taking my waist measurement, which I divided by 4. Remember, this pattern paper should be folded into 2, or your fabric should be folded into 2. Now I've gone ahead to take my hip measurements. Remember, I'm going to be using this line to take my hip measurement. Now I'm going to go ahead and connect all the body points I marked out together. Now, if you're using a stretchy fabric for this, please make sure to minus 1 inch from your normal measurement. But I don't want to be minusing 1 inch. It's totally optional. So now I'm going to be from this crouch line point, I'm going to be marking out 1.5 inches on both points I have there, both the one below the crouch line. Now from the middle point of this my hip line this way, I'm going to place my tape this way and mark out 5 inch in a slant method. Remember to place your tape this way. Now I marked out 5 inches from that point. Now I'm going to connect this point to this point to the hip line point where I have my hip measurement from. And then I'm going to connect it this way, just as you see me doing. You can make use of your free hand. And now this is basically all for the front part. I'll just go ahead and add ½ inch allowance, sewing allowance all round. At this point, guys, I later realized that I didn't add ½ inch sewing allowance at the down part. That is the line below the crouch line part for the sewing allowance. So go ahead and add yours before cutting out the front part. Now I'm going to label this and then cut it out. Now I'm done cutting the front part, and this is all for it at the front part. As you can see, I'll go ahead and draft the back part. Now for the back part, I already rule is my bust point, my shoulder point, my bust line, my waist line, my hip line that I came down by 5 inches from my waistline, and then also my crouch line. So now remember, at the front part, at the below that crouch line, I took 1 inch. But at the back part, I'm going to be taking 4 inches. And this is because the back part is going to be coming towards the front part to button at the down part. Now I'm going to go ahead and rule a straight line on that point I marked out the 4 inches. Now, after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and start drafting the body measurement. Now, first of all, what I'm going to be doing is to take my zipper allowance measurement, which is 1.5 inches. This is totally optional. If you're not going to be making use of zip, you can go ahead, fold your fabric into 2 and start drafting your body measurement. But if you're going to be making use of zip, you're going to be doing this, taking 1.5 inches zipper allowance on every line that you have on your pattern paper or your fabric. Now, after connecting those 1.5 inches points together, I'm going to go ahead and label this as my zipper allowance. Now I'm going to be taking my shoulder measurement, which is 16 inches divided by 2 will give me 8 inches. Now I'm going to mark the 8 inches there, and then I'll be making use of 3 inches for the wideness. I'll go ahead and place my tape this way, so you see that I took the measurement from the zipper allowance line. So now I'm going to be coming down by 2 inches for the neck depth at the back. You can go down by 7 inches, you can go down by 8 inches, depending on how deep you want the neck depth to be. So now I'm going to go ahead and connect both points together. After doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to take 1 inch below that my 8 inches I took for the shoulder point. Now I'm going to go ahead and connect it this way, meeting my neckline. This will be for my shoulder slope. Now from that my shoulder slope point, I'm going to be coming down by 8.5 inches for my armhole measurement, that is 17 inches, and that I divided by 2. Now I'm going to rule a straight line there, make sure it is straight, and then connect it this way. So this will be serving as my chest line. Now I'll go ahead and connect it this way because there will not be ½ inch intake at the armhole part. Now I'll go ahead and take my bust measurement on my chest line, which is 10.25 inches. I'll do the same thing on my bust line. I'll mark my bust measurement. I'll come to my waistline. I'll mark my waist measurement. And then also this particular line I use as my hip line, I'm going to be marking my hip measurement. Remember where I'm taking the measurement from that zipper allowance line. Now on my crouch line at the front, I came in by 1.5 inches, but at the back, I'm going to be coming in by 2 inches. And then the line below the crouch line, I'll come in by 1.5 inches. Now from the crouch line, I made use of 2 inches. Then for the the line below the crouch line, I made use of 1.5 inches. Now I'll go ahead and connect the body points together this way. So now from this my center back, I'm going to place my tape this way. Remember at the front I made use of 5 inches here, but at the back part I'm going to make use of 7 inches. And this is just to cover up my bumps properly. As you can see, I made use of 7 inches, but you can make use of 6.5 inches if you wish. Now I'm going to go ahead and connect the points together this way. First of all, I'm going to be using my marker to make like a dot mark, meeting that's my hip line part. This is just to help me to like have like a balanced shape. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my curve rule to do this. You can also make use of your free hand. Now I'm done with this part. I'm going to go ahead and work on the zipper allowance part. So now from my waistline here, I'm going to be coming in by ½ inch. And then I'm going to connect it this way. And this is just to avoid any bulge at the zipper part after placing your zip. So if you're not going to be making use of zip, there is no need for you to actually like leave a zipper allowance part. Just go ahead, fold your fabric into two and start drafting your normal body measurement. But if you are going to be making use of zip, you'll be needing this particular part to do this particular part this way to avoid any bulge at the zipper part. Now I'm going to go ahead and mark out this place because I'm going to be cutting it out. Then after doing this is all for the zipper part. Now I'm going to go ahead and extend the line at the neck part to my zipper allowance part, and I'll go ahead to add ½ inch sewing allowance all around. So now this is all for the back part. I'm going to go ahead and label this and then cut out the back part. And I'll also trim out the zipper allowance part. Now I'm done with it. This is if you're going to be making use of zip part. But you're not going to be making use of zip, just to go ahead and draft this without the zipper part. And this is how it's going to look like when you are drafting yours without zipper part. It's not going to have any slit at the back again. And then this is all for the back part. I'm going to go ahead and place the front part. So now the difference between the front and the back part is the front neck is deeper than the back neck. The armhole of the front is deeper than the back one. And then this particular part here, the front part is deeper than the back part, as you can see here. And again, the down part is at the back, at the front is shorter because I made use of 1 inches. And then at the back I made use of 4 inches. This is because the back is going to be coming to the front part to pin down this way. So this is the reason why the back part is longer than the front part in that particular part there. So from here now, this point here to below the waistline by 2 inches. Then from that part now, stitch it and then place your zip to up to that neck part there. And this is all for this swimsuit tutorial. Then go ahead to cut out the sleeve for this swimsuit. And then this is all for the swimsuit tutorial, as you can see here. So don't forget to subscribe, share, comment and like. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Thank you.